How the Pharma Information Technology IT group uses data. Pharma IT is responsible for gathering all the data from the various sources. You'll have internal sources, which include calls, samples, targeting, alignment, call plans. Then you'll have third-party sources, your sales data, your HCO, HCP affiliations. External is usually data you purchase. Pharma IT will use various methods to bring all that data together into what's called a commercial data warehouse. It's just a large repository of data. And then you'll create data marts, which are small repositories of data that are cuts, that are slices of the larger warehouse. The data marts are used so the various business teams can put a presentation tool on top of them. And some of these presentation tools are BI tools such as Tableau or Power BI or Cognos. You can do spreadsheets like Excel or Google Sheets. And you can also do PowerPoint presentations or PDF slide decks. And we'll get into some of the technology later on. The pharma business owns the data, not pharma IT. While this varies from company to company, usually commercial operations purchases the third-party data, and the brand teams will fund the majority of this cost. Pharma IT produces deliverables based on metrics and formulas that the commercial operations teams have developed. Call metrics, targeting metrics, incentive metrics. IT is a facilitator. The business drives the business, and IT is there as a support staff only. Pharma IT needs to present consistent deliverables so that the consumers of the data can be confident that it is correct. Prescription data, otherwise known as RX data from third-party vendors, is projected. Pharma IT needs to make sure that any volatility of the data is reported back to the vendor so it can be investigated and possibly corrected. Here's a data flow example. You have your customer data, your third-party data, targeting data, territory alignment. You have your call plan, you have your customer relationship management data, your performance management data, and your incentive comp data. All this data comes into what's called an ETL or extract, transform, load layer. It's then pushed to metadata where you have your KPIs, your metrics and security, and then it's pushed to the presentation layer. And this presentation layer is where your tools sit upon, your Excels, your PDFs, your BI tools. And that's how IT works with collecting the data, bringing it in, and putting it in a simplified fashion so that the business teams can consume the data. Pharma information technology, as far as incentives goes, it is extremely important that IT reported data is consistent and correct. An associate will make the majority of their compensation from incentive grade data. So data fluctuations and errors in sales reporting will be annoying and cause a lot of concern throughout the organization. If they can't trust the reports, they're going to challenge everything. Errors in incentive reporting and payouts are much more serious, and it will be escalated to upper management. You don't want to put out a report and have incentives start and have payouts begin, direct deposits into people's accounts, and then realize, oh no, we made a mistake. Pharma IT needs to take great pride in their work and ensure that what they are delivering to the rest of the organization is correct. Now, of course, everyone should take pride in their work, but it's extremely important because Pharma IT is producing deliverables, actual information to the field, and they have to make sure it's correct. It is better to delay a deliverable than to release it with errors. So there's no need, or it makes no sense to rush something out without first checking it for errors. IT will take the blame for issues that may not be their responsibility because they failed to put safeguards in place. So if you're not checking the data from the vendor and the data from the vendor is incorrect and you don't check it, you're going to be responsible because you push it to the field. So you have to make sure you put safeguards in place to do validation checks against what you get from the vendors. That is the end of lesson 13. There will now be a 10-question quiz.